The next day. Yesterday didn't end on a satisfying note with Saint Eunay. I hadn't been able to enlist his help, but he remained a key figure in my life. I need to leave that behind when I talk to him. Excuse me. Good morning. I've brought your breakfast. Oh. I caught sight of Saint Eunay as soon as I opened the door. He was in his underwear. Saints preserve us. Well, I mean, I guess at what point does, like, embarrassment leave you in your life when you've, like, lived for thousands of years? Poor Cyrus. She's gonna be so scandalized. Alright. And no, I don't want to CG this. We can move on from this moment. He was in his underwear. You were changing! I'm so sorry,
Oh, you can stay. You have my breakfast, right? Put it over there. I'm hungry.
Alright. I've never seen a man naked. Technically I had. I had seen my father in the bath as a child. But that was more than 10 years ago. I didn't know where it was polite to look. I mean, you could look at his face. It's probably a safe bet. I decided to look away entirely and ignore him. Once I set down his food, I'd leave the room. Yes. Yes, I will.
The meal looks good today.
Saint Eunay walked to the table and ate a grape. In his underwear. He's gonna make you eat breakfast with him while he's in his underwear at this rate. I feel like he might have done this on purpose. I wouldn't put it past him.
Why are you shrieking? You're being weird.
I know that I am. Please put on clothes.
I don't know.
Saint Eunay gave a childish smile and closed the distance between us. What are you doing?
Your reaction is funny. I need a closer look at it.
Please stop.
If you want me to stop, don't be embarrassed. If you don't want to be teased, don't react to it.
And with that, he turned around and walked to the closet. Good. He's going to put on clothes now. It's not as simple as that. I'm like, please tell me he's not going to change underwear at this point.
Okay. Look at this.
Go
on. Look.
At what? I was reluctant, but had no real choice but to do it. Telling myself it was in order, I looked at Saint Eunay. Oh no, it is a CG. Oh! How... interesting? A lock to your heart. I was not expecting that. Also, are you wearing gloves but nothing else? I have questions. Huh. Alright, well. His skin was as white as porcelain. That's what I was thinking too, actually. On his chest, between his collarbones, there was a small hole.
Thank you. I wanted to see that look of surprise.
This is a bit more than just surprising. I touched my own chest, probing for a similar hole. Of course, there was none. Saint Eunay, what is that on your chest?
A secret. It'd be boring if I told you immediately.
But...
Just kidding. I'm having you kill me, so I'll tell you. This is what makes me immortal. There's a machine inside my chest.
Interesting. Okay, at first I was like, are you actually a full-on cyborg man? But you just have a machine in your chest, specifically. Okay, I don't know why I never thought that that was a possibility, but it makes total sense. And I'm saddened that I didn't think of it earlier. Okay. Interesting. And I assume you don't have the key to it. A machine.
Yes. I was frail and sickly a long time ago. Without this machine, I would have died before the flood.
I wonder if Ulrich's ancestor made it for him. Because Ulrich's very, ingenious as far as, like, making things. So, yeah, now I'm curious.
But I'm still alive now. I don't age and I don't die. The machine keeps me alive. I never wanted to live so long. It's quite frustrating.
If the machine keeps you alive, can't you just stop it?
I've had the same thought.
And?
We'll talk more about this later. For now, I want breakfast.
Okay, priorities, I understand. Thank you for giving me, like, a nice tidbit of info each day. Greatly appreciated. Seemingly content with my reaction, he quickly got dressed. I'll be interested to hear more of this story.
I'll tell you. Don't worry.
I watched him as he ate. He seemed to enjoy the food, but my mind was elsewhere. That slot in his chest. I've seen it before. For a key. Yes, for a key. It was a keyhole. I need a keyblade. A keyhole? What kind of machine makes a human live forever? Now I had another mystery to think about. Not that thinking about it was going to do me any good. Saint Eunay is such a mysterious person. I'll say. He's got a lot going on with him. His schedule for the day was meeting with the people. Randomly chosen applicants could have an audience with him. Being able to speak to Saint Eunay directly without being a temple official was, of course, incredibly rare. They're going to be over the moon. I stood behind him, looking out at the long line ahead. Men and women, old and young, everyone was anxious to speak to him. I imagine I'd be the same if I were in their position. Perhaps I'd have been sleepless with nerves and come to him exhausted and sleepy. Saint Eunay was highly venerated.
Saint Eunay!
Hmm? A tall man appeared and stumbled towards him. This man. The document showed him to be a florist. So he brought him flowers.
Today is, very nice. The weather is so good. It is. Not that we can see it from the chapel. Yes. I'm sorry.
This was his only chance to speak with Saint Eunay, and yet he could only talk about the weather. He's too nervous. I had to smile at their exchange. There were sounds of giggling in the background.
These flowers. They bloomed this morning. Please, take them.
He extracted a bundle of colorful flowers from their paper wrapping. Hey, you were told that he's not going to accept any gifts.
It's all right. I'll take these.
But what if they're poison flowers? He stood up and walked towards the man. The man was sweating. He was trembling, too. If someone had given him the slightest prod, he would have lost his balance.
Please. Thank you. They're very nice flowers.
And the moment Saint Eunay touched the flowers... The flowers wilted and scattered. The flowers' lustrous color had disappeared. Brown petals tumbled to the floor.
Why? I'm so sorry, Saint Eunay.
The man was shaken. He turned around and fled. I mean, if it's the same principle of poison turning to water, I assume something in the flowers was maybe also poisonous and that's why it died right away.
Someone clean this up. Carefully. I will take a break. Roger!
Why did the flowers wilt? What just happened? I looked at St. Eunay. His expression was impassive. I decided it wasn't the time to ask and simply followed him back to his room. That's my theory. Back in his room, St. Eunay sat down on the sofa. He hasn't said anything since he left the chapel. I wasn't sure whether he just wasn't in the mood for chatting or if he wanted to avoid talking about the flowers. After some thinking, I decided to bring it up. I should stop if I see him not liking the topic. I opened my mouth. About what happened in the chapel. Could you explain to me why the flowers wilted?
There is not much to explain. I don't know a lot more than you do based on what happened. There must have been something that could harm me in those flowers. Poison, maybe.
Harm you?
Yeah. You were born in this country. I'm sure you know the tale.
The tale. The tale was a short poem extolling St. Eunay. It was a staple in compulsory education. St. Eunay does not age or die, praying for the people and eternal peace. Thank St. Eunay and his blessing, for his love is infinite.
Well remembered. The tale is right. I'm immortal, so the flowers wilted. That's all there is to it.
That's a bit of a flimsy explanation. I was confused by how those things were supposed to be connected. I'm also not sure how the machine in his chest turns poison into water and makes flowers wilt instantly. And why his life was apparently in danger to begin with. St. Eunay was the symbol of our country. I could think of no reason to target him. I could think of a couple.
St. Eunay, the cleaning is complete. Please return to the chapel. Right. That's the end of my explanation, okay?
I don't think I can ask him for more information right now, even if I'm not satisfied. I nodded and followed him out of the room. I mean, he is the most powerful figurehead. I'm sure there's some people that would like more power and possibly to change things. He's the man from before.
St. Eunay, I am so sorry!
It was the man who had given flowers to St. Eunay in the chapel. Why is he here? Only temple employees were allowed in the hallways.
It's all right. The flowers wilted, but the sentiment is appreciated. I'm so very sorry. I wish there was anything I could do.
This is a little weird. Of course, it could simply have been that he'd slighted St. Eunay and wanted to apologize, but I didn't think so.
Please accept this an apology.
The man took a step towards St. Eunay and reached into his pockets and pulled out a knife.
Die!
A knife? Of course it's a knife. Girl, you were a policeman. I reached for my sword, but the man had his knife out much faster. I won't make it! The man brought his knife down on St. Eunay, and when it touched his body, all the glass in the hallway shattered with a deafening shriek. And that wasn't all. Whoa. The glass had embedded itself in the man's body and avoided me? A large shard had gone deep into his throat. Blood was running down from his mouth. He reached for the shard in his throat, trying to remove it. He pulled it free, letting forth a torrent of blood. St. Eunay's clothes were stained bright red. The man attempted to grab St. Eunay as he collapsed. He was dead before his fingers could touch him. What? What just happened?
Like I said, I'm immortal.
What
What happened here?
People came running, drawn by the noise. Lord Warner was at the forefront of the crowd. Apparently, the assembly had been in session.
But... Your Holiness, what has transpired here? Just some assassin. It's not a big deal.
St. Eunay was perfectly composed. He was completely unaffected by the horror in front of him. How can he be so calm? He's lived for thousands of years. This is not the first time he's almost been murdered. I'd been standing next to him and I was dumbfounded. Lord Warner grimaced at me.
Cyrus Testella, you were by his side. Why did you allow this? Is your sword merely decoration?
I'm very sorry! He was completely right. If it hadn't been for that mysterious intervention, St. Eunay would surely be dead. I'm not his bodyguard, but if I'm given a sword, I need to protect him.
I'm not at all harmed. Please don't attack her, Warner. But... She's merely my attendant. She has no duty to protect me. I'm asking you not to attack her. I understand. We will take care of the body.
St. Eunay thanked him and looked at me.
I'll clean myself. Stand by in your room.
Shouldn't I accompany you?
I will clean myself. It will involve a bath. Can you accompany me? Won't you be too embarrassed?
Oh.
I'll make it quick. Just wait for me, alright?
Aw, thanks, Eunay. Sparing our girl. Once St. Eunay was gone, a throng of employees appeared. Some of them removed the corpse, others the glass shards, and yet others set about repairing the windows. Yeah, definitely not the first time that's happened if they got, like, it down to a science. Like, alright, you go in, remove the body, you guys come in, sweep up all the glass, and you guys start repairing these windows. Toot sweet. His bath will take a bit of time, I'm sure. Based on past experience, I was fairly sure he wasn't going to tell me much about the man's death. I could investigate on my own. I looked around for someone to ask. My eyes fell upon this friendly face. Lord Warner. He was standing by, watching the servants. He wasn't busy. Most of all, he was the speaker. Surely he knew a lot. I'm not thrilled by this, but let's try to ask him. Sure, I'm sure it'll go well. Lord Warner. He gave an audible sigh. You have my apologies for this. We can be happy St. Eunay is uninjured, but you're right. I should have been more alert. This won't happen again. If there's anything you know about this, please tell me.
What do you want to know?
Why do you think he was after St. Eunay's life? Who would target a symbol of faith and grace?
Only the aristocracy truly believes all that. The common folk have more mixed feelings. Our government is flawless. The gap between the rich and the poor is fairly narrow, and neither rich nor poor suffer hunger. However small the gap is, though, some stratification exists. St. Eunay is sometimes targeted as an outlet for frustration. He is the supreme symbol of authority.
I see. He isn't involved with governance very much, but... if he suffers assassination attempts, why isn't he guarded?
Because he demands to be unescorted. Besides, there's no need.
There isn't?
The world loves St. Eunay so much that it will intervene if he is in mortal danger. The world judges those that would seek to harm him. You saw it with your own 2 eyes. You saw the miracle. how the world killed that man.
Miracle? I don't know if I'd say the world was involved, but okay. I'd always thought that a miracle was a wonderful, fortuitous event. I wasn't sure whether someone's death could be called the same. And what exactly does the world love Saint Eunay mean? I don't understand. Why did that happen?
We don't need to understand. All we need to know is that it happens. It doesn't matter who makes an attempt on his life. He can't be harmed. The world wills it so.
Oh. Is that guy still alive? Oh. I turned around towards the groans. One of the employees trying to remove the corpse had thrown up on the floor. That's horrible. I looked away immediately, but I'd already seen it. Hey! Puke somewhere else! But look! There's bloody glass everywhere. Ugh. Who could do something like this? He really isn't human. Well, yeah, of course not. He doesn't age, you know. For a moment, Lord Warner was silent. Then he began to yell at the workers.
Hey, you there! Shut your damn mouth if you don't want me to accuse you of insulting His Holiness! I'm so sorry!
He snorted and looked at me.
I hope His Holiness is not angry. Either way, I want you to handle events like these with your famous sword skills.
Roger. Countless glass shards littered the floor. Flecks of flesh and blood had gone as high as the ceiling. I can be glad that St. Eunay is unhurt, but this is an ugly sight. And what's more, what scared me the most was what Lord Warner had said. How the world ostensibly loved him so much that it averted any mortal danger. If that was true, how could I possibly wound St. Eunay? You become his world. And yet he wants me to kill him. How am I supposed to do that? Well, it's only been a couple days. We'll figure something out. The audience seems to have been cancelled. And not just the audience. A scheduled dinner party with nobles was also cancelled. They'd insisted out of consideration for St. Eunay. He may be feeling very disturbed right now. A man had died in front of him. He was immortal, a priest, but surely that had stirred something in him. He might not eat any of the food I'm bringing. I'd asked the kitchen to prepare a grand dinner, more than usual, but I worried that he'd have no appetite for any of it as I opened the door to his room. He's probably starving. I've brought your dinner.
Thanks. Wow, what a feast.
Yes, today was a hard day.
I guess.
It seems your dinner party has been cancelled as well.
I know. These things are always an annoyance. Now everyone I run into will be telling me how much they worry about me, how glad they are I'm alright, all that blah. And I have to say the same things every time, again and again and again. There's nothing more annoying.
Oh, I see. St. Eunay didn't like it when others tried to be considerate. Maybe this isn't welcome either. I wondered whether my actions had had the opposite effect.
No, good food is always welcome. Thanks. I don't usually get such a feast. You must have told them to change it up. And I like eating, so thank you.
I see. I'm glad you appreciate it. Still sus that he can read our minds. I need to be careful that I don't get too considerate of him. Either way, I had something to do. I worked up my courage and knelt before St. Eunay. I'm your attendant, not your guard, but I know how to use a sword. If I had drawn my sword in time, I could have stopped that man and prevented such a shocking scene. I'm very sorry.
I told you, I don't want all that. You really don't have to care. I won't die. Besides, what if you mess up and your sword touches me instead? Then you're dead. I don't age. I don't die. Others die instead of me. I'm an abomination. The people venerate me precisely because I'm not normal. They fear me. That's the saint they want. I'm really looking forward to finding out how you're going to kill me, Cyrus.
Looking forward to it, huh? Isn't it impossible if I can't use a sword?
Yes. And I can't kill myself either, or at least I don't know a way. You won't be able to harm me. Don't worry. I don't have high expectations. If it doesn't work out, well, then you'll just die and we can be done with it. If you want to live, then you need to find a way to kill me. Good luck.
So encouraging. Right. If I didn't kill him before time ran out, then he would kill me. He smiled at me. It was a cold smile. I could feel he wasn't joking. I need to start working immediately. I need to find a way. Now she's like, yeah, I think I'm getting more and more okay with the idea of killing this guy now. It's been like 2 or 3 days, but yeah, I'm coming around to it. After a long day, I returned to my room. I thought I'd understood that St. Eunay was immortal, but I'd been misjudging him. All I'd been able to see had been his order to kill him. There's a reason he didn't tell me how I should kill him. There's no way. The world kills whoever harms St. Eunay. That's why the flowers had died too. They'd been poisonous, so they'd wilted the moment St. Eunay had touched them. There you go. The world had killed the flowers. And I'm supposed to kill him. He'd said he had low expectations. I took that as an admission that I would be unable to kill him. And if I can't do it, I'll die. This is such an awful game. Sorry, Cyrus. Saint Eunay was the highest existence in our country, and his command was absolute. I had to serve him, protect him, and eventually, to kill him. And smooch him too, don't forget. If I can prove my innocence, then I could evade my exile in the depths. Would Saint Eunay let me go without forcing me to try to kill him as well? But how would I even go about that? I have no idea how I could prove my innocence. But as far as I could tell, there was no escaping my death. But Saint Eunay had wished me good luck. Well, what does he expect me to do? Let's find out from the man himself. See what's going on in the old noggin tonight.
A girl who killed her parents. I'd never felt the urge to kill a family member. Probably.
Okay, thank you for being honest. At least, as far as I remember.
I'd been alive for more than 400 years, so some things were difficult to remember. I wonder what it feels like to kill someone you've lived with all your life. Then again, I know something about how that feels. I knew what would happen when I left him there. I could have just as well killed him with my own hands. Of course, I didn't want him to die, but I feel guilty. There are small things everywhere that remind me of it. And if I want to be free of that, well, I will have to die. But before that, I should take a small look at least at what I've lost.
Are you talking about your friend? Are you talking about your friend, the fairy guy?